Welcome, everyone, to another session of Flames of the Divine. Heaven, if you would please recount the events of last session.
Okay. Well, the party that consisted of Talos, Gregor, and Evan discovered a cave that is guarded by drow. They managed to talk their way out of it, and Talos was able to convince the drow that if to leave the fire main clan alone, they would have a trade agreement. Now the party is back at camp, and that's where we left off.
Right. So, to sum it up, so you've been called. So the the negotiations with the she says trade agreement, but the actual goal all of these negotiations is very pretty much is actually seems to be very vaguely defined at the moment. But she has whoever this matron Kalena is has requested that you all be here, that you all be present for the negotiations. And as Zeros sets off, she beckons you all to follow her.
Alrighty.
So you all get aboard a boat, cross back over the river, and trek in the direction of the cave where you found the drow outpost. And about halfway there, in a small clearing, you find a lone drow woman is there waiting for you.
I guess that's our escort.
You said she was coming alone, remember?
Yeah, I was gonna say it could just be
Yeah.
It could just be.
So you see a single drow woman who appears to be wearing quite a bit of golden armor. And black and sort of a long black tunic under it. It almost looks like, and all of you, all of you roll perception checks, and it's still daylight out at this point, so I'm going to say roll with disadvantage because this is a thing. This is a thing that would be easy to miss. Well, not for Talos, at least. Rudy? Yeah. Okay, so Talos is the only one who notices that it like, at a glance, Talos, you've never seen this woman in before, but the light seems to be hitting her a little bit weirdly. But just something just visually off. She walks toward. So when she sees you, she gets up, walk towards you. Well, come on now. Don't just stand there. We have things to discuss, I gather.
Before they do, Talos whispers to everyone, the light seems to be hitting her very strangely.
So proceed with caution.
potentially an illusion or some sort, but, well, let's just speak.
That would explain why she was willing to come alone.
Of course, Talos conveys the information to Matron Ziora as well, and as they're advancing to speak.
And 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 mate and Matron Kalena, I presume. Indeed. It 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 Kalena Sin at your service. That surname means nothing to any of your characters.
It's great to finally meet you. We've heard quite a lot of things.
And all and all good things. I should hope.
Oh, totally.
Now, so, my ally to the north has recently requested aid from me. This much you know, and from what I understand, you would convince me not to send it. She just holds out her hands. Make your case.
Alrighty then, so start speaking up. What we can offer you will be a lot more valuable than whatever your ally could offer up north, per se. I heard you were a rather famous pirate, Miss Kalena.
And that is indeed true.
Pirate with good amount of troops, good amount of food, good amount of gold. What else could a pirate really want more?
Something tells me you're going to be answering that question for me shortly.
Well, there's only two other things I would really care for at that point. At the point of your stature, anyway. More gold or more power? Why not get a little both?
Go on.
We have discovered a temple nearby. A temple that has a large array of antiques. Probably some we haven't even discovered fully, if you were to go really searching deep into it. But deep inside of it, there is an array of magic crystals. Probably invaluable to some. It turns water to holy water.
Oh, now that is interesting. Tell me, would this be the temple occupied by Ladon?
Currently, it could be. It could not be. That information is currently being withheld. There are other temples though scattered.
Yeah, go ahead and roll. I'm going to call that a deception check. She looks at you and other temples, you say?
True, we have discovered two ourselves.
Well, that it now that's that and that is and okay, out of character. Remind me. I know you that one Sylvester temple you stumbled across us, and you mean to apart from the one on the plateau?
I thought that was the reason for the deception roll, but yes.
And okay, yeah. Okay, so you are just outright lying. You're not just referencing two temples that I somehow forgot about. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm lying to a degree, but I'm also saying that it's like a half lie. It's enough for deception.
Hmm.
I was pointing out the Temple of Sylvester as one of them.
Basically, the concept is there's two temples that we found. There could potentially be more we don't know of.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, also technically not a lie because there was that one little ziggurat on the river. But anyway, and 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 so you say there's two, and there might be more. Now,
if you go exploring far enough, you might be able to find a well of shadow magic.
I'm going. Okay, pause time. I'm over here. I'm gonna see if she actually knows what that is. Is a well. A what? Like, she seems genuinely taken aback.
A well that gives the user magical powers, the price that they can handle what's to come shortly after. We were able to handle it. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, okay. Actually, no. First, at that last comment, go ahead and roll persuasion. Okay, she seems genuinely pleased by that last compliment. But actually, okay, yeah. So, I'm going to be honest. I came here fully expecting you to offer me either temple on the plateau, and then I would have had to explain to you that and if I really wanted that, I would have simply he stayed Ladon's ally, and because he's in much better position to give me these things that you offer. But now you say that there's more.
Much more. Things we haven't even discovered fully. Things that are yet to be discovered. This land, very rich in magical energy. A lot of beings stay here.
Is it? Is it? Okay. Okay. You had my interest, young one. Now you have my attention. And of course, that would and that would necessitate it sending sending my people to go wander around in uncut and well, let's not split hairs. Plunder the ancient ruins of these lands. I take it that's why. I take it that's why the aliens are here. This is technically their territory, after all.
Completely true. But if we align truths, there's no reason for conflict. If you go gather what you need to gather, then I'm sure they'll be abide with them just fine. Most of the areas that we mentioned is long before they even came here.
And oh, that means it's worth a lot more money. Okay, you have made a solid offer, but there's a complication you may not be aware of.
No. What's the issue?
Ladon has my daughter hostage.
I see. So that's how he was able to leverage your assistance.
Indeed. How the fool got herself captured, I do not know. But but obviously I cannot just let him kill her.
Do you happen to know where she is, perchance, or where you would keep her?
I've no clue where she is.
Clever.
Yeah.
Ladon is in her presence as well.
Not the only issue. That tells me a few things. Alrighty. Get her name.
And of course, her name is Julie.
Alrighty. Julie. And lastly, do you have a photo of her? Or some kind of picture, maybe drawn?
And okay, I need to. And let me check something. I'm not sure if she'd be able to do this rules as written, but I'm just gonna decide that she can. She and so she sort of holds out her hand and casts a quick spell that you all recognize as a minor illusion. And you see this image. It appear.
See, you're capable of doing that. That's good.
And far more capable than anyone. Far more capable than anyone else in this wilderness, I dare say.
You say that, but we do have an ability to cast scrying. We can locate her.
Roll insight real fast. Well, that is good.
Not what I was thinking. But with that said, if we can locate her, and we can probably gonna rescue her easy too.
I look for. I look forward to hearing you again. And I'll tell Dinette to send you more paper.
Much appreciated, Miss Helena.
Of course. I look forward to hearing. I, when next you contact me, my daughter had better be with you. She slashes her hand and through the air, and it actually stops. Should you succeed, I will conduct further I will, and I will conduct further negotiations with Lady Zior here. And she slashes her hand through the air and just vanishes. And as she does, as Talos, like, you already suspected she was an illusion, and now you realize what was weird. She wasn't casting a shadow that entire time.
So she was an illusion.
Yep.
Well, it looks like we got ourselves a quest.
Yeah, and also Chaos, Gregor, you got pretty close, near to her, during those negotiations. Like, you were saying, close enough. I want you to roll. What would this be?
Insight.
No, no. This had nothing to do with her mannerisms. It's something I want. Would he notice something, and would he correctly identify it?
Perception.
For lack of a better choice, yes, I'm on it. Yeah, just call it a perception check, because I would think you would recognize it, being since you serve the goddess of blacksmiths and all.
Okay.
It's to do with her armor. It's to do with her armor. Oh yeah, you noticed?
Hey.
You get a good look, and you realize that wasn't and that fancy golden armor she was wearing, and that's not golden metal at all. Those are scales, gold dragon scales.
So it seems like she already tussled with dragons.
Either that, or has the funding and capable of supplying herself with armor and weaponry made of gold dragons.
Yeah. Now that we're past that, let me reiterate: the surname Sin doesn't mean anything to any of you.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well, Matron Zura, with that being said, what are your thoughts on what is on the table now?
Well, it would say. Honestly, I'm actually quite pleased with this. It is now us who has much to offer her, and she's not put anything on the table yet. Which means right now the negotiating power is with us.
Well, I shall leave that to people who are more silver tongues than myself.
And yes, you will, boy. Come on. And she leads you back towards the camp.
Excellently done, CeeLo.
We're not out of the fire yet, to a degree. Whether we can provide the goods is a different question.
Certainly it is. But you've opened the door for us, even if it's just a crack. It's us to put our foot in the door.
We're not done yet. We gotta pay someone to visit.
Right.
And with that, CeeLo, when she heads by the camp, would head straight to Bryceus.
and 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 she and so Briseis is actually not in her usual spot. She's bent over, and she is actually. Nah, she wouldn't be inside the tent without Zayora present. As in, that's just rude. Okay, she had sort of a rough table brought out, and she's bent over it, looking at a map.
Before I go, does anyone know the minor illusion cantrip?
No.
Yes.
Alright. Rudy, if you can come with me real quick.
Yeah. So, ready fully.
Damn. And for context, it is evening by the time you get back. The stars are out.
Alrighty. Briseis, how do you do?
Hello, and hello, Silo. So, there's something you need?
Why, yes, this is in a few concerns that we have and might be an issue with you.
Go on.
So, we made negotiations with a pirate who is currently trying to send their best crew members to assault us. In response to this, we made a truce with them. Long story short, we need to help locate a daughter of hers. And we know you have the cards right now with the ability to scry.
You know, for a split second there, I was worried you were going to ask us to use them yourself again.
No, I wouldn't need that. I just need you to look at her and know her name. That should be enough to get a visual idea where to have a chance to find her.
Okay, allow me to pull out the scrying spell so I can. Also, I can just have those details on hand. All right, so go on.
If we can get a clue to where she's at, even if it's the room, then might be able to find out where she's being held at. Rudy, if you don't mind showing her what we saw with Helena real quick.
I do so.
This is Julie. That is her name, Julie Tisson.
All right. She pulls out the cards, hovers her hand over them. Her eyes start to glow a very pale gold. So, like, it doesn't like. She almost seems to be using them differently from you. Because the magic of this card seems to just behave differently around her. Okay, so. Uh-oh. Gotta pull up the. Didn't occur to me that the cards might actually get used again, so I gotta pull up what they. Save DC 18. Okay.
Yeah, it's an 18.
Because the kid will try to resist.
Would she? Because honestly, if they want to be, I would think if I were to be scryed on, I would be able to know where I want to be at.
and and that's true. But she has no idea who's scrying on her at the moment. Is the thing.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay, so all those various things. Okay, that +3 bonus is total. Oh. So okay, so you see, hey, you see Bryceus sort of concentrate for a few minutes. She says, "I see her. She's in the stone room. One window, high, a ways up in the sky, a ways high up, so like a tower of some kind."
Tower.
I get, but judging by the judging by the positions of the stars, quite a bit as she like. Okay, she breaks the scrying spell and turns to you. She's being held in a stone tower of some kind, some ways to the north.
And you mentioned the stars, so that means it's night out for her, or is roughly the same time of day for her here, right?
And, and yes, and reading these things by the stars is how I was able to figure out where she was. I think I have been in that area before.
You have roughly the area. Do you recognize the tower?
No. To clarify, I have been in that area thousands of years ago.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for the help, Arceus. I'll have to conduct some more research.
Mm-hmm. And then she goes, yeah, she nods at you, like just gives you a bright little smile, and then and then she just goes back over to poring over her map.
All right, Rudy, let's head back.
Rudy will follow.
All right, everyone. We got a location. We got a location to a degree, but based off what Bryce says has informed me, she is somewhere north and looks like in a stone building tower of sorts based off the sky. Do we know of any stone buildings that's pretty high up in the air right now?
Well,
Talos, I mean, you're the only one. You're the only one in the party who really knows the Valley of Life and Death, but you do know it quite well. So I'm gonna say, go ahead and roll history with advantage.
still not my best, but this is an even roll.
Well, history or survival, whichever. Okay.
15 will do, I guess.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. You can think of, like, there are some ancient ruins. There are some old, like, I mean, obviously, like, you've been around and, like, the Valley of Life and Death is dotted with ancient ruins, you may have noticed.
Some from Leon. I imagine some from Leon and ancient history, some from before that.
And well, Leonin don't tend to build stone buildings, but that aside,
Well, ancient stuff.
To the
East
north.
ancient.
Well, you think to the north, and there is there is one area you can think of that would not be too far. That it's a basically it's a very it's a very you're no archaeologist, but basically there's this old ancient fortress a couple in it's north of the plateau, like about a week's journey north.
Right.
Earth.
Uh,
You have seen it yourself from a distance.
all right.
It's it's the only and north and has towers. That is the only place you can think of that in the Valley of Life and Death that really
matches the description.
Yeah.
All right. So, at the question,
should also be noted. It also has a reputation for being very, very haunted.
So yeah, at the question, Talus's ears flatten as he seems deep in thought for a moment, even humming to himself, and they perk right up as he seems to realize something. Well, to the north of the plateau, there's this fortress like building from a long time ago, about I would say probably about as old as any other ruins around here. But I do remember seeing it one time in the distance. It had spires that seemed to reach up into the sky.
Then we likely have our candidate.
It's about a week's journey, give or take.
Well, let's say everyone then. What do you think of the situation?
Well, if it's the only candidate we have, then nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yes, we don't have many. We don't have much of a choice. I reckon. So yeah,
there's always a choice, Gregor. It's just whether you see it as the opportunity or not.
I suppose.
For example, given that we were tasked with such a large ordeal in general, she would give us some time, and we can always make a different plan with that time.
Well, I guess I should say it doesn't seem like we have a better choice at the moment.
Sorry, this slipped my mind for a moment. I should also warn everyone that the fortress itself, although the ruins, it does have the reputation, well, amongst the Firemain tribe at the very least, of being haunted.
I see.
Could be all absolute nonsense, but, well, considering the stuff we've all seen going through, well, the ruins that we have, I'm more likely to believe it.
I mean, they can't be any worse than the things we fought during the Black Sun.
Probably not, but still.
It is up to everyone on this regard.
Well, as I said, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Otherwise, we're just sitting here on our thumbs. I'd rather be out there than making a difference. Or at least some sort of difference.
I'm in too.
What say you, Heaven? Rudy?
I'll join. You'll need a healer.
Oh.
Plus, I'm still working on some of these new powers that I just got. I'd
Well,
rather, I'd rather practice in the field than, well, have an accident here.
and well, even though fair point, and even though I have vouched for you, you are still an outsider at the end of the day. But
So, yeah.
seems we are in unanimous agreement.
Go and talk to Matron Ziora for me and just say, give us 2 weeks' time.
All right, I will. Make
And,
whatever
oh,
preparations you need.
and Talos, a small bit of DM advice: you would be well advised, and you would be well advised to add a bit of padding around that, because 2 weeks journey assumes that nothing slows you down or anything.
Well, to be fair, yeah, maybe a bit of meta knowledge, but Talos has lived here long enough, and he knows, like, well, you know what, you need to be generous with what it is that you can reasonably
Yeah.
get done here.
Yeah.
All right. Talos nods and he says, "Get whatever preparations underway you need to. I'm sure Creon can provide one or two things depending on what you have to offer."
Yeah.
And with that, Talos quickly goes and he says, "Matron Ziora, may I come in?"
And Talos, you have something?
Yes. And he walks in. Before I go on with that, does anyone want to get any preparations out of the way right now?
I'm all good, personally.
I still have plenty of crossbow bolts.
It's not like we've exactly been making a lot of money and that there's a shop around.
And we are pretty good with supplies, as far as I recall.
I just figured I'd ask. All right. So, Telos approaches very, very respectfully, and he says, "I believe we may have a lead on where we can find our potential ally's daughter."
I'm not going to like hearing this, am I?
Not particularly, but well, as you said, this week has been certainly interesting. Well, the good news is, thanks to our friend Rysea, we were able to locate a possible area where we may be able to find young Julie. However, the only possible location that I could think of with the given description is, well, the fortress ruins to the north of the plateau.
That is the second time in less than a week that you have asked leave to go to a forbidden haunted ruin.
He kind of laughs nervously. Well, I guess glory waits for no man. Granted, though, the first time we asked was for a business that, well, was for business that we were sent here for to investigate. This time, though, this time is to help my home.
She slowly nods. That is something I can certainly understand.
We will we would ask for at least perhaps 3 or 4 weeks to see if we can't find little Julie ourselves. If the worst happens, well, I will leave it in your hands what you believe we should be done.
Eh, And you, and mind how you speak, Talos. But but I appreciate the sentiment regardless.
Without interruptions, it's about a week travel to the fortress itself, and potentially a week back. So I'm being somewhat generous with the time.
And this is and this is good.
Talos hangs his head a little and he says, I'm sorry I've invited such, well, disarray to the Pride.
Oh, you have done no such thing. Blame that fucking dragon.
I suppose so. Still, I do feel somewhat responsible.
Well then, go. Do your bit to fix it.
Talos nods. Thank you, Matron Ziora. And I know I said it at the time, but thank you as well for allowing me to venture out.
And if you succeed at this, you will, and you will have proven yourself beyond a shadow of a doubt. Now go. Finish your preparations and get this done.
Of course. And, well, as unlikely as it is, should you hear anything of Mother and Father and the hunting party, well, let them know everything that happened. Good day, Matron Ziora. He gives a small bow and heads on out.
Nods.
Alrighty, so let's take a look at the stuff I got. Hmm. Before we do continue forward, I do want to see if I can't get one thing out of Creon, if that's okay.
And by all means.
Don't worry, everyone. This will be quick.
I mean, well, also considering it's late in the evening at this point, and you're not all going to be leaving this red hot minute anyway.
Right. So, just for the sake of brevity, Talos explains the situation to Creon, and as an offer for a more restorative ointment. Sorry, go ahead.
You know what? I'm going to stop you right there. Creon hears you're going to that castle, and his eyes start to shine. Bring back all the samples, boy.
As in all the samples of the potential creatures we see?
Yes.
I see. Should I have a special cloth, like a special set of cloths for that, or?
How does one wrap a ghost?
Regardless, I'll figure it out.
Note. Haunted does not mean ghosts.
True. But yeah, Talos says I'll figure it out as I go. But with that said, I would like to request some more restorative ointment for myself and my companions. I'm willing to offer up this mess kit if need be.
Oh no, take it. Yeah, just take it. And like he slides you 2 jars of it. It, it, this is an investment. And now, and then, yeah, and like, by the way, when you walked into him, he was working on just grinding up up the bones of one of those undead giants, just with like a mortar and pestle.
Just a bit of a thigh bone hanging out of the mortar. Sorry, the pestle.
Yeah.
Alright, so it's 2 jars. So we need to roll 2d4. Alright, so one contains 5. That one contains 5 doses, and one contains 4 doses. So that gives me 11 doses.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, should be all good, so let's roll.
Yeah. Like, I'm willing to give you so many because it's an action to apply them. Which is an advantage that regular healing potions have over these things.
Well, sometimes you just gotta hunker down and get the bigger heals. But
Indeed.
regardless, with that out of the way, is everyone ready?
Are we leaving tonight?
It might be worth getting the rest and then leaving in the morning.
Fair point. Like, we'll say the party leaves at first dawn.
Okay, so in that case, we will pause time for general planning. What route are you taking?
What are the options?
Well, the most direct route, like you're going to be cutting through quite a bit of jungle either way. The most direct route would be to either take a boat up the river, river, or to walk along the river. Like that would take you a pretty decent chunk of the way. Of course, that would also require going straight through Ladon's territory.
Any other option?
The longer route, probably.
Yeah,
We can't have them be alerted.
Yeah, go around, cut through jungle, basically.
I say we cut
Yeah.
through jungle.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. We'd
Yeah,
be
like
more
the river.
vulnerable.
Yeah,
We'd be more vulnerable out on the river than the jungle.
yeah,
I'd rather take my
yeah.
chances
Like,
with whatever. River.
yeah, cutting through jungle until you're past the plateau, until you're a decent ways past the plateau would definitely be the less chance of discovery option.
More so that this is more my idea to do that one is more so we don't tip off late on that something's amiss.
I agree.
Of course, the trade-off being that cutting at going along the river would have been a lot faster, but well, that's the price of stealth.
Well, I asked for a hefty 3 to 4 weeks, so it should be good.
Yeah. Okay. So you start. So and also worth noting, you don't actually know what parts, like how much territory Leon has actually claimed for himself. Like you only really know about the plateau. So what is and is not his territory is currently unknown to you, as a matter of fact.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. So, bearing that in mind, so next question actually, do you do you do you stay on this side of the river, or do you cross over to the other side, away from the plateau?
Away from the plateau.
What do you reckon, sir? That way we can avoid lessen the risk of running into Ladon's group.
Yeah, just be easier. Also, what direction does the river flow?
The river flows south, so you would be you would be heading upstream.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely the other
So-
side then.
If you were to change your mind and take a boat up, you would be going against the current. Would still be a lot faster than walking.
All right, so we'll cut through the jungle and go on the opposite side of the river. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. Everyone else?
Yeah, sounds good.
Alrighty then.
Okay. So to see what kind of time you make after you set off.
Sorry,
Uh,
just getting my dark blessing going.
Yeah. The surge is a lot more powerful than you remember. So, you start and no and no nightmare. Actually, no nightmares, Heaven. But you did have a dream. You find yourself back in that pagoda with Ishak and the good food. Food. Well, there's a development. And Sin. I've heard that name before.
Evan raised an eyebrow. You've heard of the Sins?
And yes, as it was in reference to the Arcranians, but well, these ones were obviously not Arcranian.
Evan, would Evan know what an Arcranian is?
It's been explained to you by Ishak. They're Vierna's followers.
Oh, alright. Been a while. So you think that the Sins are related to Vierna in some way?
Maybe. Like I have heard it in reference to in vague reference to her in the past. But I can never find any I can never find anything specific.
But you seem to know a bit more about Vierna. So
I have, one might say, she is, I believe, the greatest threat to this world. As such, I have done my homework.
but you haven't figured out any connection between her and the Sins?
Yeah. Well, frankly, Well, frankly, I didn't think it was important and before. It was just a name that would it occasionally surface in my searches.
Heaven,
And I could never figure out who or what it was referring to. I was not expecting pirates to be the answer to that question.
I wasn't expecting it either. Especially since she's well known in my region.
Yeah. Eh, eh, eh. In any event, and this castle we're going to, uh, like, forget the like possible Vienna connection or not. Saving a little girl is, of course, admirable, and this castle we're going to sounds quite interesting.
Heaven raises an eyebrow again. You're interested in a castle
Well,
that
I am interested in what may be found inside it.
you mean something Leydon may have stashed there other than the girl?
I there may very well be that, but I was referring to the your friend did call it haunted.
Oh, ghosts.
Ghosts, or maybe something a little bit more exciting than that. I
Are
have no
you?
idea. I'm speculating here.
I was just gonna say, you mean demons?
Could be, could be. Have a chance to get your it would be interesting. Chance to get, and could be a chance to get to know your new kin.
Bead of sweat pours from Heaven's brow.
There's a bit
My
of a
new
smile
kin.
on his face as he said that.
You, you make it sound like I'm not a genasi anymore, but a demon.
Well, you are most certainly still a genasi, but that is not all that you are anymore. I think I should say. It's very small, this addition, but it will grow and become something very great indeed, if you wish it.
Heaven just rubs her temples and is like picturing any future children she has with devil horns and a tail.
Uh, hmm. You never know what might happen. Eh, and tieflings aren't all tieflings aren't always a result of bad decisions made while drunk.
Heaven like blinks. You heard that thought.
Uh, in here, uh, in this place, uh, it's your your mind may as well be your speech.
Heaven sighs in annoyance. So I can't even have a private conversation with myself.
Uh,
So,
If
so
you
you're
wish to have,
saying
if you wish to have such a thing, I will send you to another dream.
with the chance of it being another one of those nightmares? This is
No, no,
this
no. I, I think you have had quite enough of those to last one lifetime.
still. I haven't. I've had those nightmares ever since I bought that Artunic amulet. Just
Eh,
wondering if there's like a connection somewhere.
well, if this is an amulet of your goddess, then well, perhaps perhaps those nightmares were meant to be a warning.
hoping the dream druid I sent a message to might decipher what it means.
The
Silo's been taking a look at the amulet as well, but
the advice of a professional is never a bad choice.
yeah, but the problem is it is hard to find a frickin' dream druid in Lundruck, and I don't know any other or any dream druids.
We
This
found
one,
one.
Rudy, I'm talking. Anyway, this one was recommended to me by a druid of Allah of the sisters, the one with all the mushrooms. I sent I
Like you when you mention the sister, there's like there's a grimace. Is that just crosses his face?
haven't raised an eyebrow. I take it you're not a fan of magic mushrooms.
The sisters are like Vienna, just not as dangerous.
This piques Heaven's interest. Like Vierna,
And
as in
reckless. Is doing as they please with no regard for the consequences.
they. Well, from what I've heard, they are the goddesses of getting high.
Be glad. Then be glad they restrict themselves to that.
But did they usurp the previous nature goddess or something? Just trying to put this together.
And by all accounts, the previous nature goddess passed on her mantle willingly. If that is so, she did not make a good choice.
Wait, willingly? Are you saying the old goddess died?
I do not know what happened. In gods passing on their mantles is a thing that can happen. History never records what really happens to them after.
That makes me wonder about the pharaoh. According to our traditions, the pharaoh is a descendant of Artun.
According to our traditions, meaning you don't quite believe it yourself.
Well, I'm not exactly a firm believer of religion, but
That much is evident. It is yet one more reason. It is yet one more reason. Reason why you are so suited to this task. Yes,
still,
you do not shrink before the gods as on sight.
true. And it's just that this is making me question a lot of things about my own people. Is the pharaoh related to Atun at all, or
Oh,
what? Or
it,
is it like
it
just
isn't.
some? Is it just like some propaganda by the first pharaoh in order to lay claim to the title? I don't know. Probably the only one who would know truly would be the pharaoh himself, unless he's a firm believer that he is a descendant of Artun.
Oh, I'm certain he is. I'm certain he is.
So, what? Back to the castle. You, you're interested in the haunting aspect.
Well, I might be. It depends on what's actually haunting it. If it's ghosts, boring.
And if it's demons, interest.
Maybe you'll make a friend. And of course, we don't need to limit ourselves to those options.
Yeah, you just put thoughts in Heaven's mind that just made her cheeks blush. Anyway,
Oh. I meant it, and it could be more than just demons or ghosts. I did not mean to imply that at all.
anyway, so here's my question. What would be the trigger that would have me break away from the group to go investigate this or to lay claim to whatever it is?
I will have no way of knowing without seeing it.
Just an example, if you will.
I don't. I, in this
Just
instance, at least I think. Well, if the castle is truly as haunted as your friend seems to think, then breaking away from the group at all would not be wise. As give them full disclosure, and tell them what you are doing. Give them full disclosure. Ask them to come with you.
well, that's one thing I like about you. You don't let me you don't force me to keep secrets. I suppose that is one good thing about you.
I have no need to lie to you. Therefore, I would see to it that you don't need to lie to others. That won't help things here at all.
True. Just I've heard stories about warlocks getting a bad deal.
Oh, all the time.
Just making sure that our exchanges are not just too good to be true.
Well, I could stand. If I find a way to manifest my physical body, I can stand. I can stand I can stand in a zone of truth for you if that would make you feel better. But rest assured, you have already. If anything, I'm getting a good deal here. You have already proven far more effective than the previous fool as I had working towards this goal.
Previous fools?
I don't want to talk about it. It was a mistake. That is all I will say.
Heaven backs away from asking anymore. Still, she has her own thoughts. Okay, so, and you don't mind it takes us a while to get there. I mean, going up the river is it would take a good chunk of time out, but
I have, and Evan, I have been, I have been, and I have been working towards this goal for almost 100 years now. A few, a few weeks will make no difference.
well, as long as you're not impatient, I guess we can work with that. What?
And well then, help yourself to whatever food you may still wish for, and then have a nice sleep.
Heaven just grabs some tea and she takes a whiff. Is the tea anything familiar to her?
Er, It's her favorite tea. I don't remember. I don't remember what. I don't know what that is. I don't know what her favorite tea might be, but it's that.
Evan smiles as she drinks the tea. And unless Yashak has something to say, that's it.
Oh, that is it. So, the following morning, you all set out, cross the river. Well, and you set out through the dense jungle. And you set out through a very dense looking jungle. I'd like you all to roll group survival checks. A group survival check. To see what kind of time you make.
Evan also informs the group about what Yashak told her the night before they left. Does all our stuff work? Good.
Mixed bag. So you go as fast as you can, and you make pretty good time. You make pretty decent time at first. Then the weather takes a bit of a turn for the worse, which not entirely unexpected in this place. Yes, and you are forced to take. You find yourself taking shelter a lot. Talos, as you're just about able to keep track of the distance, it takes you 3 days to get the distance to get past the plateau on a journey that took you about 1 day before.
Damn. Well.
Yeah. Like a journey to the plateau is much more open in one much more much more favorable terrain, as it were. But you make your way, and you and let's see. Let's go. So I'd like you all to go. Actually, and this is a passive perception in situation. Yeah. Okay, so. Oh, So, Talos, Rudy, and Heaven. As you go on, you just start to get the nagging feeling that you're being watched. Nothing seems to come of it. It's but something is keeping an eye on you, it feels like.
Heaven starts looking around to see if she can spy anything.
Rudy, you do not detect any magic. As for Heaven, okay, now I'll ask you to roll an active perception check. You see a rustle in a nearby bush, and your hand darts towards your hip where you've got your short sword, and then a small animal just like runs out. Yeah, a velociraptor, let's say that. Oh, actually, wait, no, there's no dinosaurs here.
I was just being funny.
Yeah. But yeah, but and what's a good small animal for these purposes?
A kiwi.
Nah, a little bit bigger than that. Just a badger wanders out of the bushes and just passes you by with just complete disinterest. Yeah, so you keep going on. So yeah, you all press onward. Yeah, cute, yes, but unfortunately, much too small. So you press onward. The feeling remains, and it is with that feeling that you come here. Ahead of you is what Talos would recognize as a tributary from the main river.
Tributary, sorry?
Yeah, a tributary from the main river that runs through the valley.
Like a stream or a creek.
It is
Oh.
a
Oh,
small,
so like
yeah, like a small river branching off from the big one.
Hmm.
How shallow is it,
Like
Talos?
Go ahead, DM.
and well, you'd have to step a bit. Well, I mean, step a bit closer, which is
Preemptively, Talos rips a sturdy branch from the nearby tree.
So you do.
And as he approaches the river, he he reaches out and starts poking into it.
And you do not feel the bottom, but you can just make out the bottom. Um, it it's a good 20 feet deep.
20 feet.
Yeah. And on the bottom, like you can see something in roll perception real fast just to see if you can make out what it is. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, you see what looks like a sunken boat. There appears to be something on it, but you're not sure what.
Looks like some adventurous travelers came through here with a longboat and ended up sinking it somehow.
That doesn't bode well. But at least it's not a graveyard of ships.
Seems like there's something on it, but I can't make it out.
Like a creature?
As I said, something. I'm not entirely sure. But that isn't the main that isn't the main concern here. What the main concern is how we're getting across.
Yeah. Uh, and
Well, we could try that thing we did in the temple. I mingle with the wind and tie her up to myself. You towels throw me across as far as you can. I tie the rope and you guys climb shimmy to the other side.
We could, but I think since now we have a bit more sturdy and more appropriate targets, I might be able to just tie a rope to an arrow and pin it to one of the trees after a quick.
Oh, you're no fun, she says playfully.
Well, best not we waste any time, and that step of the wind of yours can be handy later on.
I can walk on water.
Can?
Pretty sure.
check your spells.
This.
You and everyone else here.
Huh. But yeah, I mean, if we can just freaking walk across it, that could do too.
Talos just begins tying the rope to one of his arrows and knocks it and aims it at I'd say this tree here. As I said, let's preserve our resources as best as possible.
Fair enough.
So, shall we get walking?
So, you guys want to use a spell instead of shimmying across a rope?
I mean, I guess we could put it to a vote. Who wants to? Because there is still the risk of the rope breaking.
Never mind. Yeah, if you have a spell slot to spare, then yeah, let's do walk on water.
And if we get attacked, we'd have a better chance running on water than trying to shimmy across.
Yeah, it just seems a lot safer, really.
Alright, well, cast the spell then.
Rudy, can you want to come up here so I can cast the spell? All right. Shit. I didn't mean to post it again.
I mean, whatever.
So yeah, Gregor casts the spell.
Yep.
On the party.
Okay, so all of you suddenly get a bit of an orangey glow sort of swirling around your feet.
Evan goes to test it out.
And 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 you feel like you should be sinking, but you're not. Is how I can best describe it. Like it's not suddenly solid underneath your feet. You're just it's like walking. It's like
As if you're walking very lightly on a waterbed.
yeah.
It works, guys.
Yeah.
All right,
So
let's just get. Should last an hour.
yeah. Now, yeah, so yeah, and Silo moves up as well. Uh 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 uh. uh, uh think so. As you all are moving up, up like a bunch of fish, in a bunch of fish ish that Talos you recognize as quippers, and well, Earthlings might recognize as piranhas. Uh, uh, as basically like start well as your feet sort of disturb the water a bit. It, they try they try to they, and they sort of try to chomp at your feet, but because they can only get your feet, they kind of just keep breaking their teeth against your footwear.
Quit nibbling on my shoes. You know how much I paid for these?
Yeah. Now, and Gregor. Uh,
Yes.
all of you roll. All of you roll. Roll a quick perception check for me, just as you're passing over.
I see things.
Yep.
Do I see
And
things?
you know what? Because of how well Heaven rolled, you actually both see two separate things. Gregor, uh, uh, and Gregor. So you happen to look down at the boat as you pass at the sunken boat as you pass over it. It you can just faintly make a out a what looks like a suit of armor to you down there.
Uh,
Uh, uh, likely still being worn by whatever poor sod went down with the ship. You would guess. Like whatever it is, it's very shiny. Doesn't seem to have been affected by the water at all. Heaven. As you glance back to the far, as you glance back at the other side of the river, you can make out a large, furry shape. It moving among these bushes, and then you see rustling in the bushes, and it stops short of the river and just short of it coming out into proper visibility. And you just hear a bit of a growl, like,
Everything holds up.
and then it turns back. It seemed to want to follow you, but has no means of crossing the river.
Okay, what the hell was that? And
Yeah,
that's in character.
you didn't get any kind of a good look of it, but it was big and it was furry.
Guys, something big and furry tried to follow us, but it couldn't cross the river. Seemed annoyed or something.
Huh.
I, I
You
think
know what?
I think it's
I
been
get,
following us.
would want to be follow. I mean, might just be some animal who thinks we look tasty.
Or it could be something else, like a monster or an enemy.
Also, there was a sunken ship down there. There was some pretty well maintained armor for being underwater.
You're not seriously saying we should go back for the armor.
No, I mean, I'm sure you felt all those piranhas nibbling on our feet.
They were like a tickle.
Certainly wouldn't be wise to enter their domain.
Not unless someone has a lightning spell to electrocute the water.
If I had to take a guess, what was following us was probably one of the Ladon scouts.
Something. Wait, like a kobold?
What? In
No.
heaven, whatever that thing was, it was quite a
Knoll.
bit bigger than a knoll.
It was bigger than a knoll. If it weren't for the jungle, I would have guessed a bear.
Well, I mean, I hope it's not one of Ladon's troops. I wouldn't want him to know where we're going.
It's bigger than a knoll. That's for sure.
It doesn't entirely.
Doesn't
No,
rule
it
out the
doesn't.
possibility.
Talos,
It doesn't.
you know this jungle well. Do you know what animals could possibly fit such a description? Furry and bigger than a knoll?
So do I roll survival on that, or
Survival or nature, whichever you want. Because I mean, well, there's any number of animals that could fit. Which one? Like which ones do and might Ladon have at his command? You have no idea.
Talos just gives a simple shrug?
Well,
best we not. Sorry to interrupt. Best we not linger here too long. We only have so much time on our hands.
yeah, and it seems it won't follow us try and cross anytime soon, unless it finds shallow end nearby.
That being said, if it's been following us for a while, chances are it has the patience to wait for us to return. So we best be on guard for when we come back.
What's this?
Well, we better get moving then.
Indeed.
And if
Whatever it is, at least we can count on it not following us through the river.
But if anything else comes, then Rudy's tiny hut will be able to shield us, I'm sure.
Well, we better get going. We're wasting daylight.
Indeed.
And as you continue, the trek north, I think that is where we are going to end this session.
Alright. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Bye bye.
Later.